Chandraji, before I let go of you, is separate administration an answer? Is Congress in favor of separate administration?
How can we support this separate administration? This is totally no.
Madam Guite, you heard the Congress chief saying no separate administration. I'll give the mic to you first. So the principal opposition party in the state is also opposed to it. The main opposition, the main party in the government is also opposed to it. So I don't think there will be any consensus on the most important meeting on Saturday. Even I don't think there will be a talk on separate administration there. If both the parties agree that it's not an issue, then I don't think it will find itself even on the talking agenda. Madam Guite.
Coming to the present context of talking about separate administration, where the present ruling government and the central government may not agree, so this the territorial integrity, which has been kept at a priority, that it should not break. This is something. And on the other hand, here you have the majority victim of the Zomi Kuki tribe going through such a violence and pain. And I would say it's one of the most, violence and being treated like an animal in our own land has been gone through by this community and this tribe. And I fully justify their demand to be, separated from the dominant Meiteis community. And I also want to question, when we talk about territorial integrity, what kind of integrity are we talking about when we don't have integrity in our conduct, when we don't have integrity in our humanitarian approach? So this kind of, question when it comes to humanity, values, ethics. So it is justifiable that the victim party is also demanding for a separate administration. If I draw a simile with this is an ethnic violence, and if I draw a simile with a domestic violence or a family violence, so, this kind of things, separation and are very natural, which comes out of a human being. Nobody wants to be treated like an animal or a third-class citizen, So it hurts, and it will take time in the healing process. Let's see how the central government work it out as the best knowledge which they have in terms of the historical, cultural, and ethnicity context which they have in the region. And sometimes, I feel that it's very important to know the frame of differences and the context in which the Zomi Kuki people are talking about and what the dominant Meiteis people are talking about, So there are many issues in terms of the justification given for the violence, and in terms of the land resources, in terms of the demand of the ST status, which I actually feel is such a silly excuse to conduct a magnitude of such violence towards your fellow ethnic community with whom you have been coexisting for the past more than 70 years. So this kind of justification which has come out in that backdrop, I feel that we need to look into the larger political economy, which is displaying this kind of violence. This is just a tips of the iceberg, and the political economy behind the development perspective which is happening, and then with the G20 happening and the Act East policy of the government, and the kind of investment which has been done. And suddenly you see that, okay, there is a prospect of the hill areas of Manipur and also the other parts of northeastern region is developing. Investors are looking into the northeastern regions for the international trade, for agricultural products. So, we have to connect all these issues and see this violence from this perspective. And the justification given in terms of illegal immigrants, demand of an ST status, to me, they are so minuscule in terms of the justification given for this violence. There are many shit going on within the ruling government, and the general public are misled, and the real issue is the political economic perspective of development which is going to happen in Manipur.
Okay. Dr. Ramesh, when I was speaking with Mr. Keshav Meghchand, the President of Manipur Congress Committee, I think it becomes very clear before Saturday's meeting that neither of them are pressing for separate administration. I think if the principal opposition party and the BJP are on the same page, it means that it's not there. Then the other talking points will take over immediately.
We have to see, we have to look who are demanding separate administration in this present crisis, and who are Kukis, and who are those people who are demanding this separate administration, separate autonomy. So I endorse with the statement given by the PCC President K. Megachandra. So this demand is unacceptable. So whatever demand they may have, and democracy provides value. Democracy provides opportunity to have to protest, but the way of protesting, the way of demanding through the act of the violence is condemnable. And we have to see who are demanding, who are those people who are demanding separate autonomy, why they want to have separate autonomy. Their demand, their objections was in the beginning, in the initial, was against the demand of the Meitei community to include Meitei in the scheduled tribe. Now they are demanding a separate autonomy after creating the violence on 3rd May. Let me remind you, Kartiki, the first violence was happened on 3rd May, and on 11th May, they put a signboard in the Tobung Bangla of the Kumbi Assembly constituency, welcome to Greater Mizoram. Right? On the 12th May, 10 Kuki MLA, they have released a press note that they are not set to live together with the Meitei community. And then on 3rd May, they again burned down 20 houses in the Tobung Bangla. So we have to see the sequence of the incident and how they are demanding this separate autonomy. And let me remind you, I have been watching your show, regularly. Maybe perhaps before 2-3 days ago, former Lok Sabha MP Kim Gangte, he claimed that he was threatened by one of the Kuki militant group who are understood. And he was protected by the Meitei woman flock. He was kept safely in Pongju area, Meitei dominated area. So now suddenly they are saying that we are not safe to live together with the Meitei community. They want separate autonomy. They want separate administration. What is this? It is unacceptable. So those people who are demanding, we have to look, we have to see, we have to find out those people who are demanding separate autonomy are illegal migrant or not. Illegal migrants who are living, who are settling in the Manipur, they don't have the right to claim for a separate autonomy, for a separate state. I strongly object this demand of autonomy, this demand of separate administration, their long pending demand for the Kuki statehood. And let me remind you one thing. In 2012, when Telangana was formed, when Telangana was separated from the Andhra Pradesh, Kuki people, they constituted a committee, Kuki Separate State Demand Committee in 2012, hoping that they may have the opportunity, they may have the chance to claim for a separate Kuki land. So this demand is a long pending demand of the illegal migrants who are settling in Manipur. So it is unacceptable. I strongly object this demand for the separate autonomy.
Okay. I'm also joined by Mr. Hejang Misao. Am I audible to you, Mr. Misao?
Yes.
Your response on it. Then we'll go to the Saturday's most important meeting at 3 p.m. Your response: no separate administration. The principal opposition party concurs with the government.
That definitely, I would say they have to say that, because they are from the Meitei community, and then even if they don't say that, I think they will have the backlash from the same community.
I'm sorry, I'm interrupting. This is Brijesh. Are you saying that the president of the Congress party is a Meitei? That's why he's saying it, or it is the dominant view of the Congress?
Yeah, no, I'm saying because even the Nagas, he himself belongs to the Meitei community. I know he's from the Congress party.
Okay.
You need to understand the ground facts, because when you are from that dominant and Meitei community, something which you talk about against the Meiteis feelings, I think they have to be very careful in that. So now, regarding the separate administration, if you Dr. Guite rightly pointed out, we are emotionally, physically separated. And so when the tribal communities are demanding for separate administration, it has to also root it back to the history. If you look at the history, the hills and the valley are always, separate entities. And if you look at the merger agreements, which was signed on 21st September 1949, the merger agreement of Manipur with the Indian Union was signed between the Maharaja of Manipur, Sri L. led Bodha Chandra Singh, and Sri V.P. Menon, advisor to the government of India, Ministry of State, on behalf of the Dominion of India on 21st September 1949 at Shillong, in which the Maharaja of Manipur surrendered his territory, titles, authority, rights, and privileges, except his personal properties and religious rights, and received a sum of rupees 3 lakhs per year. Thus, the sovereignty and independence of Manipur as a country came to an end on the day the Maharaja appended his signature on the historic merger agreement. The total area of Manipur merger agreement cover was the territory of 700 square miles, which is 26,500 hectares. And in this merger, there's no merger of the tribal chief and their territories. Now, when you might say we are like 1 district of Uttar Pradesh, but that should not be the basis. Now, when you are physically, emotionally separating the people, and when you are objecting to the demands of these people who wants to be separately administered, I don't think that makes any logic. We should also speak from the humanitarian perspective, when the humanitarian crisis is always let loose by those majoritarian. I think come back to the sense, the feelings of those people who are given that treatment, and even the 10 MLAs rightly said, living together again with the majoritarian Meitei community is as same as that. So that is the feeling of the Kuki community. Therefore, when the both
so basically, Mr. Misao, you are saying that the sentiments of the other community should be taken into confidence. Okay, let us play out the bite of KC Venugopal. He is the General Secretary in charge of the Congress Party on Manipur. And then Subir Bhaumik joins us, senior journalist and author.
No, first of all, we would last 10 days, the opposition leaders of Manipur are here to give a memorandum to him. He is not even ready to accept the memorandum of Manipur leaders of opposition. Our own state, Manipur, people are fighting with each other, people are killing with each other. A lot many establishment has been burned. The Prime Minister is not even bothered to give a peace call for these Manipur people. We are very much anxious on that. This is what at least Prime Minister should concern about one of the border state of our country.
So my first question to you, Dada, the meeting is going to take place at 3 p.m. on Saturday. Your first response, the all-party meeting.
Better late than never, but far too late for my liking, because I've been on your program from day one since this crisis erupted, and I've been saying a political party which does not believe in political response is not a political party. I've been saying again and again that you follow the Tripura model, that at the peak of 1980 riots, when the state government was using its law and order machinery to control the rioting and the mayhem that was unleashed, Nipen Chakravarti, the revered senior chief minister, leftist chief minister, let me insist, actually announced tribal autonomy. He announced a 6th scheduled district council for the tribals, and that helped, douse the flames to a very great extent. If a political party which runs the country now, and which runs Manipur as well, and many other states in Northeast India, the only imagines that it can handle a crisis like this with boots on ground, guns in hand. They're sadly mistaken. They don't deserve to be called a political party. So as far as I'm concerned, I'm happy that the realization has finally dawned that this is a political crisis and it needs a political solution. And the boots on ground are only there to hold the line, by which I mean to control the crisis, which is very difficult in nature. The state government is already a joke. They're putting out drop boxes saying people who have weapons, put them here, no questions asked. Why? Because its own policemen actually gave out these weapons. A lot of national media, including, my friend in the BBC, has written about looting of weapons. There was no looting, sir. Looting of weapons is possible only when there is a stronger force attacking a police station, like rebels attacking a police station. Now, this was not a rebel attack by PLA or UNLF or some such group. The weapons were handed out, and the police was totally ethnicized and divided on ethnic lines. So, the need of the hour was to get this political process going, to get a political dialogue going. The Home Minister was there in the first part of this month. I wonder what took Delhi and the Home Ministry and everybody else so long. Now, about what Brajesh was saying, people who are in the peace committee are saying, oh, we were not consulted. People who want to be in the peace committee are not there. Like my dear sister Beena Lakshmi Nefram, who does a wonderful job of connecting to all communities. She is Meiteis, but she's above that. And she's connecting to everybody, including Kuki mothers, including Naga mothers, because she has run a gender movement. And the need of the hour is something like that, a platform which connects to all communities and does not play into this tutu meme of the different ethnic groups and their organizations, every one of whom have a finger in the pie. They have vested interest. So the need of the hour is to find people in Manipur. And I'm clear about one thing, no breakup of Manipur, end of the story. But yes, tribal autonomy, definitely. Again, I'm from Tripura, and I like the model that my own state experimented with. Tribal autonomy, yes. Be magnanimous with that. Breakup of Manipur, out of question, because if you do that here, if you do Kuki land here, Bodo land demand will surface again, Karbi land, Dimasa land in Assam, it will unleash a Pandora's box, and no government in its senses in Delhi or in Imphal can actually pander to this. So Kuki land, out of question. Tribal autonomy, Kuki Autonomous District Council, definitely possible. And with 6th schedule, greater powers than the present 6th schedule. If necessary, 6th schedule should be amended. Because one has to understand that states like Manipur in Northeast, with their diversity, there can't be endless homeland demands and creation of more unviable states. So out of question, Kuki land. Manipur has to remain as Manipur. As Tripura has to remain as Tripura. No Twipura land, okay? And no division of Assam as well. Some of these states are already, in financial terms, unviable. They survive on grants from Delhi. Should not be the case. Manipur has resources. People there have to live together and utilize those resources. Let the golden gates open, the eastern gates open, by which I mean it's there in Manipuri tradition. Eastern gates open, prosperity comes. So look east, act east, whatever you call it, through Manipur into Southeast Asia. That's the future. Fighting is not. And this drug business, people have to be really tough on it and not just talk about poppy cultivation and, bringing down poppy cultivation. The crop substitution policy has to be effective. Tribal farmers who can't grow rice, as is the case in the valley region, have to be given appropriate agricultural options to boost and give them a decent income, as Tripura has done again, rubber plantation, spices, etc. On the other hand, On the other hand, it has to be accepted that the district council or whatever autonomous council like the Bodoland, they should get certain direct funding from the center, but no breakup of Manipur and no breakup of any other state. Okay? None of these demands can be accepted. But greater tribal autonomy, and by separate administration, I would mean autonomous administration. Fine, I have no problem with that. We're 72% Bengalis in Tripura. I'm a Bengali, but I'm totally with the tribals that they must enjoy a substantial degree of autonomy by which they can, sort out their own aspirations, they can do their own development. But certain subjects like law and order and other things has to be with the state.
Okay.
Again, having said that, the state must behave like a state. Police people who have put on uniform can't give away their rifles to troublemakers. If I have anything to do with the administration in Manipur, first task, call up your DGP, ask him to get a list about which thana, so how many weapons went out of which thana. Call up those thanedars, the OCs, suspend them, take them to task, and create a precedent which people will be scared to emulate again. Okay. In future, nobody does this. How can somebody in uniform give out weapons to troublemakers and people who are not authorized to it?
Okay, I think that I think 2 points you have made. One is about how do you account for the guns through thanas, and the second, tribal autonomy, yes, division of Manipur, no. Madam Guite, yes. I would like your response on Dada's statement.
I've been listening to Dada carefully, and regarding the separate administration, I think that at the present juncture, there is no such hard and fast rule where that Azomi Kuki tribe cannot demand for a separate administration. Yes, there has been a demand under the 6th schedule for the autonomous district hill council, but that demand was also suppressed, and
yes. That is the mistake. That is the biggest mistake.
Yeah, actually, that's the biggest mistake.
Tribal aspirations have to be taken into account.
Exactly, absolutely. If that has been taken into account, today violence would not have happened. Right, and that is what you are asking, Kartike. Any what are the other questions?
My question was that Dada said, one, that Manipur cannot be divided, but you need to empower the tribals, and second thing, the strong action should be taken away on the SHOs under whose alleged attention the weapons disappeared.
Yes, exactly. So when we talk about peace, justice has to be done first. And it's a simple logic. Peace will subsequently follow. So the injustice, the killings, and the kind of barbaric act which has been done by a particular group of majoritarian dominant community, that has to be taken into account. They have to be tried under the due process of the law, and whatever punishment or whatever they deserve to be. So that has to be given. Justice come. Then if you give justice, then there will be a trust. The trust deficit will reduce. Okay. You have to, as a ruling government and at the central government, you have to rise above all this politics of electoral politics, or either I'm ruling the state. You have to rise above that, and you have to regain the trust of the Zomi Kuki tribe, and then we can only think about talking about peace. And also with this, I also want to bring in what Dr. Romes has talked about, the illegal immigration. In today newspaper report, if I'm not wrong, in Times of India itself, it's written that there was, before this violence broke out on 3rd May, as per the record, I can just read out, like saying that the Manipur cabinet has revealed that 2,187 illegal immigrants from Myanmar have set up settlement in 41 locations in 4 districts. And these 4 districts were like Chandel, Churuchanpur, and Kamzong and Tengnopal districts, right? So my point here, why I'm mentioning this figure is it 2,185 illegal immigrants is in terms of the percentage of the population of Zomi Kuki who is residing, is it too much to brand the whole population as illegal immigrants? So if there is on record, and in the report also it says clearly that the Chief Minister war on drugs campaign had badly affected the poppy cultivations and the narcotic business run by the Myanmarese national in the state. And then the government is also looking into it. So, you know, these are some of the things for which my, to me, I feel that the violence which is happening is too much for the kind of excuses and justification given in this. And then coming to the migration,
one thing you have raised, I will ask Dr. Romesh to come in here. This word often I have seen comes from the Kuki perspective on the Manipur issue. That is to conflate, like for example, the way conflation of Kuki with illegal migrants and poppy cultivator takes place. There is a conflation which is taking place of Meitei community with majoritarianism. Meiteis might be in majority, but majoritarianism is a different thing. So I want now Dr. Romesh to comment, is this conflation correct or this is a narrative building? Because I have always asked the question on the Kuki community, is it a stereotyping which is happening in Manipur? Now I am asking the question, is there a stereotyping of the Meitei community that they are indulging in majoritarian politics?
And the recent train accident in Odisha is a tragedy of the India. But the present crisis, which is now happening, the killing which is happening in Manipur is not a tragedy of India. It has been clearly seen the way the Prime Minister is behaving. Now, coming to that point, your questions about the stereotyping of the Meitei community, about the illegal migrant, and my colleague Guite has pointed out the report of the Times of India, and that was detected in the first phase of the survey initiated by the present BJP government in the state of Manipur. And before taking the second step, they have started objecting the land survey and objecting to find out the illegal migrant in the entire state. So they have objected. On March 10, the Kukis student organization organized a rally against the initiative of the present government in Manipur to find out the land survey about to detect the illegal migrant who was coming from the other state, from the other country like Myanmar. So we have to accept there is an illegal migrant since 1950. Since 1950. Right? And there was also a ceasefire agreement between the Kuki militant and the Assam Rifle in 2005 without the knowledge of the state government. So here I would like to appreciate the former Congress Chief Minister Okram Ibobi Singh. He started asking to the central government, how could Assam Rifle can have this ceasefire without the knowledge of the state government? So migration took place from the 1950s, from late 1950s to 1960s, and again in 2005, 2008. So it is a fact that there are lots of illegal migrants in Manipur from Myanmar. So why there is no any common nomenclature for the Kuki tribe, the so-called Kuki tribe? Who are Kuki? They are using the term that Kukis Mizo Zomi group. And one more thing, Manipur is not Tripura. We don't want Manipur to be a second Tripura, right? And we don't want Manipur to be dominated, to be controlled by the illegal migrant as done in the Tripura. Now in Tripura is completely controlled by the migrants from the Bangladeshi. We don't want Manipur to be a second Tripura. And one more thing, regarding now the central government should carried out an extensive investigation whether Assam Rifle is involved in the poppy plantation or they are benefited from the poppy plantation. Why Assam Rifle is sided with the Kuki militant group? Let me tell you, Kartiki, please note down. There is 2 villages in Kumbi Assembly constituency, Napat and Tangden. Their houses have been burned down on 28 May. Till now, this area is occupied by the Kuki militant group, and Assam Rifle is also residing in that area. They are residing together. What Assam Rifle is doing? Therefore, it is my humble request to the Indian state that union governments should carry out an extensive investigation whether Assam Rifle is involved in the poppy plantation or whether they are benefited from the poppy plantation. And recently, maybe 3-4 years, some of the top officers in the Assam Rifle, they have been caught for involving in the drug trafficking.
Okay. Mr. Misal, I would like you to.
You should not blame only the Meitei community. And one more thing, who are those people who demanded?
Let me come in. I think you have given enough time to comment.
Let me complete.
Because I have to also speak the truth.
Let me complete. Don't interrupt. You have to take back your word when you say that Congress President belongs to Congress President is the Meitei community. Congress President K. Megatchandra represent here as Congress President, not as a Meitei community. And one more thing, who are Nimsa Kipjen? Who are Pauline Hawke? Who is the husband of the Nimsa Kipjen?
Listen to me. You are academician. You are academician, and an academician speaking lies to the entire world is the same to the entire academician. Speak the truth. Speak the truth. We don't believe in spreading lies. We want the truth.
I'm telling the truth. You are a great liar.
Please respect your profession. Please respect your profession. I'm telling again, respect your profession. If you don't respect your profession, please quit your profession.
You are a great liar. You are a criminal. Understood what I'm saying?
Academician speaking like you I think you are defaming the entire academician. I'm going to speak the truth. I'm going to speak the truth. Don't tell lies to the entire world. You are academician. Please quit your profession if you are not speaking the truth.
This is my turn, okay? Whatever you want, you can speak in your turn, okay? Let me come.
I'm here to talk about what best way we can bring normalcy in Manipur.
You are creating lots of narrative with white lie. I'm telling you again, you are
the entire world knows. You are controlling the media. Even it's just yesterday itself, Aastak journalist who was in the IPR was beaten up, bruised because he was reporting the facts from the ground. Aastak journalist in the IPR.
What
is happening here? What is happening here,
Mr. Misal? Mr. Misal, 1 minute. Mr. Misal. Mr. Misal, I'm Kartike speaking. Mr. Misal, I thought Mr. Misal.
Let's talk about what can be done to bring peace to Manipur.
Okay, Mr. Misal. Okay. Please, Dr. Romesh and Mr. Misal, can I see them on screen? Mr. Misal? Okay. Dr. Romesh? Dr. Romesh, am I audible? Okay.
You're audible. You're audible.
Okay, now I'm audible. Okay.
Yeah.
First, Dr. Wait a minute. You have 2 minutes. Wait a minute, Mr. Misal. You have 2 minutes, Dr. Romesh, and then I'll go to Mr. Misal. You finish your argument, and then I will not let anyone disturb Mr. Misal. You finish your argument, Dr. Romesh.
Number one, you are
Mr. Misal,
listen to
Mr. Misal.
Let him finish one by one.
You will get all the time. You have been in my show. I have never stopped anyone. Dr. Romesh, finish your argument.
And when I speak. In the first place, when I speak, you stop me.
So I will compensate for that, Mr. Misal. I'll give you more time. Okay, point taken. Correct?
And I'm even offended because lots of the bias which you are displaying in this talk show are only covering the Valley people. Why don't you cover those houses which are burned down? Just recently, I'm coming back
Okay.
from the
Now I
ground.
think this has come down. If you have seen the way program started, it started with Kuki women protesting, and I have never discriminated between the Kuki or the Meitei community.
Absolutely.
Equal coverage has been given.
And you have been on our show for several days.
Wait a minute. And to your satisfaction, wait a minute, Mr. Misau, I don't want to get into a Mr. Misau, I don't want to get into a slugfest. I'm telling my PCR to run those visuals of, first of all, run those visuals of the first visual which I ran on my program when I started it. Please run them.
Kartiki, let me complain.
No. I will, but this is required. Shalini, please play those visuals. Okay. This is how I started my program. Okay. So no one can say that I don't play Kuki visuals, Naga visuals. Okay. Now coming back to Dr. Romesh, you have 2 minutes. Then I'll give the floor to then the floor goes to Misauji. Dr. Romesh.
Yeah, it is my allegation that most of the 10 Kuki MLA who have been demanding for separate administration, they are related with the Kuki militant group. We have to see who is Nimsa Kibzen. Her husband, Chingboy Kibzen, is the president of the Kuki militant group, Kuki National Front. And who is Kiminau Haukip Hangsing, MLA from Saikul AC? Her husband, David Hansing, the chairman of the Kuki militant group, Kuki Revolutionary Army. And who is Pauline Hawke, the MLA from the Saikot SC? He's a member origin, member of the advisory committee of the Kuki militant group, Kuki National Army. So demanding for a separate state, for a separate administration by the refugee or immigrant is an act of aggression. So now, it is acceptable. It is a fact that there are lots of illegal migrants in Manipur. So I would like to appeal to the Union Minister. In 2014, when Narendra Modi campaigned for the election in Assam, he promised the people of the Assam that if BJP comes to the power, we will totally eradicate those illegal migrants coming from the other country, from the outside. So there are lots of illegal migrants in Manipur. It's a fact. We have to accept them.
Okay.
And one more thing, Mr. Misau, he has been creating lots of narrative with white lie. And again, here I'm telling again, violent action, the violence happening in Manipur is created by the Kuki militant group on 3rd May. Why in that rally, in the so-called solidarity march, why there were lot Kuki armed militant group?
Okay. 2 minutes over. Dr. Ramesh, please. Dr. Ramesh.
1 second, just 1 second. Still,
Napat Tangjeng is that's the problem.
Dr. Ramesh,
please note down.
I'm going to give you time, Dr.
A
Ramesh.
person who don't respect the profession should not be given another chance.
Okay, wait a minute. Now, Mr. Misau, your turn. No one is going. Dr. Ramesh has spoken for 7 minutes. Your turn.
If you look at the ethnography written by Strasbourg Karlsey in 1912, in the ethnography, the population of Kuki at that time was 67,200 and Meiteis was 69,400. This is well documented in 1912. And if you look at the statistical account of the native state of Manipur and the hill territory under its rule, written by R. Brown and published in 1873, the population was in 1873 1,39,000. Out of this, the population of hillmen was 69,000, which translates to 46.76%. The book also mentioned that Kukis and Nagas were the two great tribal groups inhabiting the hill area. From this, we can deduce that the population of Kuki would be at least 20% of the total population. But now, if you look at the ethnography, the population of Meiteis 69,400 now is crossing more than 7 lakhs. Now the Kuki population is coming down to 14%, 14 point something percent in 2011. And now these people are still spreading to the entire world the lies like illegal immigrants when they don't have evidence and proof. And if you look at the ground zero reports by Vijaita Singh, who is a journalist from the Hindu, and Grishma Kutha, an independent journalist, they have a ground report from Manipur. They were there and then make a good report on the ground, facts and figure. Now, when Ramesh was saying the Assam Rifle are siding with the Kukis, I think I would speak out clearly on this. Look at how our Indian soldiers are treated with this disrespect by the valley people, the Dominican. A convoy of Assam Rifles are blocked in Bishnupur and they are left without any food. Helpless armies are airdrop. The food was airdrop. And the highest amount of disrespect to the Indian soldiers. When the Chinese disrespect the Indian soldiers, how much is the anger of the Indians? These people, they disrespect the Indian soldier by going to each soldier, checking their identity. Is this a behavior that we should accord to our soldiers who are defending our country? They are checking every Indian soldier, the identity. This identity, when they can check the identity of Indian soldiers, they are disrespecting Indian soldiers. The entire Indians should understand and know. Why are they disrespecting? These soldiers who join Indian army, they don't join as the Kukis or the Meiteis. They join as Indian armies. They fight as Indian armies. They are disrespecting. Now the involvement of UNLS, the Ben proscribed, who were declared a terrorist group by the Indian government, are clearly evident from the news report when 4 proscribed UNLS are arrested with 51 mm mortar, and they were arrested and then handed over to the police station. And the last mob went to the police station, get out the police station, had a long struggle with the army, and within an hour, those arrested people are released. Where is the law in the Indian state? Where is the law in the state? When the Kukis speak something about the state government's behavior, he or she was arrested. Now Mark Thangzaman, who speak about the truth, when he said the merger agreement was only for 700 square miles, which was also proved by a book called The Complexity called Manipur, written by Brigadier Sushil Kumar Sharma. A brigadier, Indian Army Brigadier Sushil Kumar Sharma wrote a book called The Complexity called Manipur, Root Perceptions of Manipur, and he even clearly mentioned 700 square miles. And when he said that, he was arrested. Until now, he is not released. And those people who are arrested with 51 mm mortar, they are arrested, and within an hour they are released. What is this? When these lawlessness are there in the entire state, what do you expect? I'm speaking from the fact. Now on 14th June, they were spreading to the entire world saying that the Kuki militants coming down from the hills and attack the civilians and kill nine Meiteis. This is blatant lies. Blatant lies. What I'm saying is Grishma Kutha, who is from the South India, an independent journalist, visited to that spot, and look at her Twitter reports. The mob with all those people coming with sophisticated people, Gorkha regiment was there. They tried to stop those mobs, and even they injured the army officer, and they went ahead and burned down. Unfortunately, when on 14th June, Honorable CM and Ramsey and inner MP Leisemba Sanazauba went to that area, Longsuk, called Longsuk, which is the Meitei village near that common log area where around 10 villages were grazed to the ground. Now he went there with heavy security forces, and they stationed in Longsuk, and then they went on the pretext of retrieving those dead bodies. The state forces, heavily armed, went ahead and burned down four remaining villages. I have those villages. They are Thombol, Gobazan, Songzang, and Goldenpai. These 4 villages were left. But these state forces, led by Chief Minister and MP Sanazauba, he allowed those state forces to go ahead and burn down the remaining villages.
Okay, Mr. Misaf.
The life of Meiteis matters only for the state government. What happens to those children, those innocent women, those aged people who are sick, whose houses are burned out, and their life doesn't matter? CM never come and talk to them. CM never come and comfort
Mr.
them.
Misau.
And how do you expect these people to stay together with such kind of administration, which is totally against that particular
only thing I would request you, a point taken, I don't stop anyone, you know. You have made your point. You're saying that there is an element of discrimination, but my only request is that if we start taking names, if we start saying so and so, I think the matter is not going to end, and the other people who are not there to defend themselves, it creates issues.
That's why I'm saying let's stop this blame game.
It creates issues. That is very fine. Let's.
Your academicians, please speak the truth. Now politicians can tell lies, but academicians should not tell lies. Please call spade. When even a journalist who is at the ITR is not safe for reporting the truth.
On Mr. Misau, you have made a point on this. On this, I would like to get Dada, because I would like to get Mr. You are saying that there is a discrimination. You are saying there is discrimination. Dada.
What I'm saying is, if normalcy has to come back, let's talk about solution.
Okay, that is very. I think that's the best thing which you have said in your. Mr. Misau,
which you keep doing.
That's the best thing you have said.
Mr. Misau, I think you have said what you wanted to say. I'll let Dada speak.
And I think you have concluded it very nicely that if we have to do a constructive debate, we have to talk about solution. I think that's a very nice way to end an argument. We have to talk about solution.
Actually, I don't want to speak those things, but when academicians like Dr. Ramesh.
Okay. I think it has
to do that.
Mr. Misau.
Let's talk about
Mr. Misau. I think Mr. Misau. Sometimes वो कहते हैं ना heat of the movement में हो जाता है, बातचीत होते हो जाता है. We are not enemies of each other. दादा.
बातचीत करो ना. तो lie तो मत करो ना.
हाँ, ठीक है. दादा, please come in. You're the senior most. Dada.
Okay. Now TV9 is teaching me the virtues of patience, which is why I have to listen to this absolute nonsense by somebody who teaches where I studied and did my MPhil from. Everybody is an illegal migrant. Tripura, what does he know about Tripura? Tripura kings ruled large parts of eastern Bengal, and people like my family were parts of Plains Tripura, where the Maharaja of Tripura was paying tax to the British. So if he dares call me a foreigner, I'm going to check his documents. Yeah? Tripura, everybody is not an illegal migrant. This whole bogey, there is a huge politics and industry which has developed around this great bogey of illegal migration. Yeah? Now let me come to the point. Mr. Misau raised some very vital ethnographic points. That Kukis are not all illegal migrants. They were very much a part of the kingdom of Manipur. Nagas were also part of the kingdom of Manipur. The rulers were Meiteis, but they also practiced a certain degree of Catholicity so that these tribes could be brought into, the general ambience of the state. Now here, let me make three things very clear. I strongly object to this whole lie that Assam Rifles is, involved in poppy plantation and backing poppy plantation by Kukis. What evidence this man has? I'm going to ask my friend General Nayak, who heads Assam Rifles, to sue this joker. This joker has...
Dada, I have a request. Dada, Bobik ji.
Can I
wait a minute.
Dada.
Let me finish.
Dada.
Let me finish. Don't interrupt.
No, I'm not interrupting you, Dada. Only request to you is...
How can people come... how can people come up with these kind of lies without any substantive evidence? Can you give any evidence that Assam Rifles is behind poppy plantation?
Yes, I can.
I can give evidence about your people involved in drug trafficking.
I can give evidence people like you.
Ask this chap. What did Kanajam Brinda recover?
Dada.
They stopped the Assam Rifles from protecting the
people like him are
Dada.
See, Mr. Misau, please let one person speak at a time. One person at a time, let Dada speak.
Dada, I have a small request. Dada, I was
And please don't use-
with folded hands. I have a small request. Joker, anti-national, enemy of the state. Assam Rifle is doing this. Newsline does not associate with itself. For us, they are paramilitary force dedicated to.
Wait a minute. I am a veteran journalist and I don't make allegations unless I can substantiate them. You know, this whole idea that Assam Rifles is backing the Kukis, Assam Rifle is backing the Kuki militants, Assam Rifles is helping the poppy cultivation, Assam Rifles is involved in the drug trade. Let me draw your attention to Kanaujam Brinda's case. She was a Manipur police officer, okay? She's no longer in the police. She suffered a serious tragedy. Her son died. The point I'm trying to make, why she was not in police? Because she raided some very powerful persons from the ruling community, from the ruling party, and she had to leave the job. So drug trade in Manipur is not particular to any community. Let me make this point very clear. In 1988, I filed stories against the then leading drug peddler in the drug lord of Manipur. And he was neither a Meitei nor a Kuki. He was from the western part of India. Okay? So there are Kukis, there are Meiteis, there are all kinds of people are involved in drug trade because it's a multi-billion-dollar business. And here, to brand just one tribe as with poppy cultivation, with drug smuggling, will be tremendously unfair. And to brand India's leading counterinsurgency force as backing drug trade is also doubly unfair. This is what I'm trying to draw your attention to. You know, unsubstantiated allegations invite serious legal action. This is something people have to keep in mind. Number three, you know, this whole bogey of infiltration that has been spread. Now, Ney was referring to the Times of India report, 2000 something on. Let me make another thing clear here, and you guys should understand this. There is a serious civil war situation in Myanmar, and a lot of people from Myanmar, especially in the western part of the country, they are fleeing into India. And this is a refugee situation. Yeah? If you think this is illegal migration, then somebody who says it, I absolutely disagree. India may not be signatory to the 1951 Refugee Convention, but India has sheltered different refugee groups before, and especially those coming from Myanmar. Now, anybody who comes from Myanmar, maybe is the same ethnicity as our Kukis in Manipur or the Mizos in Mizoram, you know, the Chins or Zomi people. And they are a larger transborder tribe. If people don't understand elementary anthropology and they're teaching in leading universities, I am really sorry that Nagas and Kukis both have transborder dimensions. Mr. Muiva is a Naga from Manipur. He is from Somdal in Ukrul. But Mr. Kaplag is a heavy Naga from Sagaing division in Myanmar. Now, somebody who does not understand this, my roots are in East Bengal. I'm proud of it. And Bangladesh is a friend of India. Don't forget this. It's not Pakistan. Your Prime Minister depends on the friendship of Bangladesh to tackle northeastern militancy. Now, that may upset some people, but that's a fact. That it's after Sheikh Hasina who came to power, she threw out all the northeastern militants from her country. That this problem in Northeast has been controlled to a great extent. So there are people who may be very upset about it, but that's their problem. Now here, let me make another thing very clear. And that is, and this is a point that is coming out through the discussion in the morning, is that Manipur has a serious problem. The Meiteis have a problem of living space and nobody denies it. The Kukis also have a problem of not having been in, and the Nagas too. And Ney was saying something very interesting, that there were demands for 6th scheduled district council. It was refused. Now, when you deny elementary, genuine demands, then people raise further demands. So refusal of autonomy has led to the demands of separate administration, separate state, Kuki land, these kind of things. The point I'm trying to make here is, if you want to do justice, you have to keep the hotheads of all communities out. The one thing is true, and I will insist this on my Kuki friends on the panel, that some of the Kuki militant groups have complicated the problem by attacking Meitei villages. But it's also true that some of the new organizations, not the old Meitei organizations, I understand Manipur better than people who are on your show. There are Meitei rebel organizations who have not got involved because they have an ideological standpoint. They have not got involved in this slugfest or in this ethnic fighting. People like, the organizations like the PLA, who fight for independence of Manipur and who consider everybody, all residents of Manipur to be Manipuris, they have not got involved in this fighting, the killing of other Kukis and that kind of thing. They have held their higher ground. It's only some of the new organizations which have been floated by vested interests and who have got weapons Can't see some police officers. I can name them actually, but I won't. Because you have said it's not your policy to name people. I exactly know who are the people who dished out weapons to these guys. Jao usko jaake maro. Now I was, when in 1980 riots happened in Tripura, I named 3 Bengali officials in the police who had sided with Bengali rioters against the tribals when the Bengalis started retaliating. The point is, uniform is a matter of pride, sir. You wear it with pride. When you wear the uniform of a particular Indian police, IPS, or Indian army, you are not a Meitei or a Kuki or a Bengali or a tribal anymore. You are an Indian. End of the story. The point that I will insist here, with all the power of the lungs that I have, is 4 points very quickly. Number 1, drug trafficking is not typical to any community. And to brand one community and associate them with drugs will be absolutely wrong. There are very big people in the ruling party here who are involved with drugs. I have the BSF intelligence report, okay? I have seen the BSF intelligence report. How very important people are involved with drug trafficking. How the drug trafficking route has changed. Earlier it would go through Dimapur. Now it is going through, you know where? When the railway line has reached Jiribam. Wait a minute. You're giving a lot of time to people who come up with absolute unsubstantiated, allegations. You have to give me time because I don't make unsubstantiated allegations. The new drug trafficking route is More, Imphal, Jiribam, Kachar, and then Bangladesh, or some of it goes to Tripura and into Bangladesh. And very, very important people are involved with this because drug trafficking survives only with patronage of people who are important in the corridors of power. And I've covered this drug trafficking. I know the Burmese drug trafficking groups who are active on the Manipur-Myanmar border, Lo Shin Nyen, Jiang Jimin, and the Wei brothers, one of whom was Kunsha, who was the king of the Golden Triangle. I myself did stories against drug traffickers and I've been threatened, So, and in Manipur, yeah. So the point I'm trying to make here is, another thing has to be understood. The Burmese drug lords have started eyeing Manipur because they realize that due to civil war conditions in Myanmar, it is becoming very difficult for them to access their own poppy fields. And therefore, they are turning towards Manipur so that they can encourage farmers here to grow poppy and then perhaps even set up processing factories inside Manipur. Now, Karthike, I remind you that Ahua group, Burmese drug traffickers, even set up a processing factory in Calcutta in the house of Upin Viswas, Joint Director CBI, who did not know who these people were. They came to take his flat on rent. Now, Upin Viswas is an extremely honest man. He was the one who Mr. Lalu Prasad Yadav perhaps tried to bribe. But he said, I will send you to jail. He investigated the Chara Ghotala, the cattle fodder scam in Bihar. But Upin Viswas, in his naivety, allowed these drug traffickers to hire his home because they had come with some recommendation of the resident commissioner of a state house in Calcutta. So that's how these guys are. The point is, these chaps are trying to move not only the raw material gathering area, that is poppy plantations inside India, and it's not just Manipur, but even Mizoram and Nagaland. They're also trying to set up processing units inside Indian territory, because where is the market? India is a 1 billion people market. So this is some reality people should not forget. And nobody has the right to blame one particular community for it. The third thing I will insist, which is, if there is parochialism, majoritarian parochialism, which I can see on the screen here itself, then solution finding will become difficult. But the way to find a solution is somebody forgives somebody for the past and somebody forgives somebody for the present. And therefore somebody will have to understand the problem of living space of people in the valley, but somebody will have to understand the genuine aspirations of tribal autonomy. And the last thing I have to say, keep the hard heads of both the communities out. Just keep them out. They only complicate the problem. There is funny allegations. They have vested interest to serve, and therefore they have to be kept out of this peace process or whatever process the center is trying to initiate. Otherwise, forget about peace. You will only have more trouble, because people who shout at the top of their voice and pack their presentation with lies can only add to the problems. They will not solve it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. One thing I would like to make it very, very clear. People can express their views, but News9 has no doubt on the competence and the integrity of India's paramilitary forces, India's defense forces, and the whole idea of this show and the conversation is to ensure that there is a dialogue. Yes, Dr. Umesh, I was saying that News9, I'm allowing you to speak, that News9 has full confidence in the competence of the Indian Army, paramilitary forces and police. There can be individual lapses, we can discuss about it. There can be individual lapses of politicians that can be discussed about it, but we are committed to the democratic norms, to the stability and peace in the state, to a political conversation, the competence, and I say this again, of Indian armed forces, paramilitary forces and police forces. एक दो गलत लोग पूरी पुलिस फोर्सेस पे दाग नहीं लगा सकते हैं, पूरी पार्लियामेंट्री पे दाग नहीं लगा सकते हैं, पूरी फौज पे दाग नहीं लगा सकते हैं. As News9's editor, I say this again and again, that the whole idea is to create a conversation. मैं आपसे ये पूछ रहा था दादा कि कल को छोड़ के सैटरडे को एक बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट मीटिंग है 3 बजे. आई थिंक नाउ द टेम्पर्स वी हैव ऑल कम डाउन. आपकी क्या आशा है इस मीटिंग में होना चाहिए?
ये मीटिंग में एक पॉलिटिकल डायलॉग का सिलसिला शुरू होना चाहिए, और वो पॉलिटिकल डायलॉग, दैट पॉलिटिकल डायलॉग which I want this meeting to kickstart, should involve senior citizens, respectable citizens, and civil society people, but civil society who are civil and not uncivil. Okay. Uncivil people have to be kept out. Civil people, okay? They should be in this, they should be involved in the dialogue. Okay. And this should be with their consent. Not that you put me in the committee and I'm not even aware.
That's one very important point.
No, political process has to be kick-started.
Okay.
Alongside discussions on how to bring peace back. And I think the crucial thing about bringing peace back to such situations, and I have seen riots in Tripura, in Assam, all my reporting live, journalistic live, and I have seen them at close quarters. Much more close quarters than people who sit in ivory towers and speculate. Okay? At very close quarters. Here, the only medicine that works is when security forces hammer troublemakers on all sides. दोनों तरफ में गड़बड़ करने वालों को गोली मारो, सीधा सर पे गोली मारो.
Okay.
No concessions. And therefore,
okay,
a process of efficient law and order has to be kick-started. Some changes have to be made in the state.
Okay.
People who have obviously failed to deliver and discharge their duty without fear and favor should be removed.
Ji Dada.
Secondly, law and order ke liye effective measures. And third thing, most important, out of this meeting, a definitive political process
Okay.
should be kick-started with
Madam Guite, 1 minute. What sort of solution you expect from the? What do you expect from this meeting? 1 minute आपका है.
Expectation, as Dada has said, in terms of it depends on the kind of representative which they have for the meeting. And expectation is that on humanitarian grounds and the kind of injustice that has been happening on both sides. I'm not saying that only one-sided, there is only one-sided suffering. So expectation is that understanding the context of the context of the historical past, the present situation, and the economic development which is coming up largely, in this whole debate of illegal immigrants. I'm expecting positive things to come out, but given the delay which they have taken in restoring peace in the state, I have that equal doubt. So I'm like 50.
मैडम गुइटे, हिंदी में कहावत होती है, कहते हैं घर आए दुरुस्त आए. कहने का मतलब है घर आए दुरुस्त आए. शुरुआत तो हुई है, तो इस बात की बहुत खुशी है कि सारी पॉलिटिकल पार्टीज दिल्ली में बैठ के मणिपुर की बात कर रही है. बहुत अच्छी बात है. मिसाऊ जी,
बेटर लेट देन नेवर.
हाँ, बेटर लेट देन नेवर, बहुत अच्छी बात है. मिसाऊ जी, आप बताइए, व्हाट डू यू एक्सपेक्ट फ्रॉम द सैटरडे मीटिंग? योर एक्सपेक्टेशन?
Yes, I was rightly mentioning in the last talk show of this news line, the problem in Manipur is political in nature and it has to be solved politically through political process and dialogue. So this meeting, I think, will create a space for political dialogue, and that will bring at least some sort of autonomy to the tribal group. If separate state is not possible, at least some autonomy, which is completely different from the existing autonomy that is in Assam, is something which I'm expecting. And I would also like this meeting should also rein in the state government by letting them stop attacking the Kuki village. So far, the attack happened from the valley dominant community, and there's no such attack from the tribal community. And if the attack from the Meiteis community stops, then there will be peace. Number two, let everyone stop spreading lies. Both the academicians and the politician and whoever and all the state media, stop spreading lies. If you have the guts, speak, call spade a spade. Don't spread lies to the entire world. The third one is stop using the state forces against a particular community, either the Meiteis or the Kukis. The state forces, which is for the protection of and which is for keeping law and order in the state, should be used neutrally and equally for every community. When such things are made happens, then I think normalcy will slowly come back. Okay. And when everyone responsibly speaks, stop allegations which we don't have any evidence, which we don't have any proof. This allegation will spread further fire, and then I think rather than coming.
Your expectations?
Yeah, an unbiased approach of the union government to resolve this issue, the present crisis in Manipur, is required. And there are lots of debate for illegal migrants, and there are lots of debates about the illegal migration. So to resolve this issue also, the union government should take the initiative, to have NRC, making the year 1951 as the year mark. Then we'll come to know who are illegal and who are not illegal. And the commission, the inquiry commission, should provide a platform for the victims to give an account of the harm they affected under this act of violence which is happening in Manipur. And one thing, I just want to say one more thing. In the last 2 days, I think there is no firing in Manipur because there is no firing from the hills towards the foothill in the valley community. And I just want to ask one question. If any one of you can deny that these 2 villages, Napat and Tangjang, is still occupied by Kuki militant group, despite the deployment of the Assam rifle. If any one of you can deny. So
you know,
now we
you know,
have to think. Just let me complete. Now we have to think how to bring peace in the state of Manipur.
that is what I want. That is what I
Yeah.
want. That is the whole idea of running this program for 45 days to create a space for conversation. You know, though today I felt कि पूरी मेहनत खराब हो गई, इतने सारे well learned लोगों के बीच में इतना कस के आर्ग्यूमेंट हो गया, मुझे लगा कि मेरी पूरी तपस्या फेल हो गई यहाँ. मतलब पूरी जो मेहनत मैंने और ब्रिजेश ने की है पिछले 45 दिन से, वो it has come to a knot. And you know that you know I'll be honest, you know I have also right to be emotional on my show and to say मुझे लगा कि गड़बड़ हो गया सारा के सारा, क्योंकि the whole idea is to get your perspective on table. You know, people living in Delhi, Khan Market, South Delhi, I don't think they understand कि वो मणिपुर के बारे में क्या है, हिल्स क्या है, वैली में क्या है, इम्फाल में क्या है. I don't know, I don't think they understand the sort of the depth you people have, the sort of things Dada has done in terms of reporting, or Madam Guite, or you know Dr. Romesh you have, or Mr. Bisav as a social activist. I hold you in high regard, but you know I don't want to pontificate and say ठीक है आप गर्म हो जाते हैं, लेकिन अल्टीमेटली द स्टेट डिपेंड्स ऑन पैरामिलिट्री, इंडियन आर्मी, वेदर इट्स आसाम राइफल, वेदर तमिलनाडु पुलिस. अल्टीमेटली यू नो दीज आर द इंस्टीट्यूशंस ऑफ इंटेग्रिटी. हर दाल में काला हो सकता है, दाल काली नहीं होती है, उसमें प्रॉब्लम हो सकती है, पूरा इंस्टीट्यूशन खराब नहीं हो सकता है, डिप्लॉयमेंट में कुछ गलतियां हो सकती हैं, डिप्लॉयमेंट खराब नहीं हो सकता है. मेरा मानना यह है, बिकॉज एज एन इंडियन आई हैव फेथ इन इंडियन स्टेट. आई एम अ प्राउड इंडियन. आई रिस्पेक्ट मणिपुरीज. फॉर मी आप सब लोग केवल मणिपुरीज हैं, और दादा केवल दादा हैं, वो सुबह भौमिक जी नहीं है. तो I would like all guests to be shown on the screen. I would like all my guests to be shown on the screen because you know they have been very patient with me, patient with News 9. We have a philosophy of getting everyone on board, and at least जिसे कहते हैं कि बातचीत होनी चाहिए.